Hi everyone, I'm Allie with Potomac Beads, and in today's Better Beader episode, we're going to show you the best way how to thread a needle. I know this is a pain for a lot of people, and I just wanted to go over some tips, some tricks, and some techniques that might help to make the beginning of your project a little bit less stressful if you can get that needle threaded a little easier. So, the daunting task of threading a needle. For some people, this is actually the holdup that prevents them from actually beading at all. They can't thread the needle and they become really discouraged with the idea of getting that needle into the thread. They don't want to do it more than once in a project. They don't want to certainly use two needles, and they really don't want to struggle to get it into the end of the color eye needle, the flexible needle, any sort of needle that they're working with. So to do this, what I wanted to do was show you some needle varieties that make it a little bit easier to thread the needle, as well as some tips and techniques that I've learned over the years getting ready and going into beading. The first thing to go over is that if you're really struggling to thread the needle, there are big eye needles. The big eye needles are, this is just a pack of one here and I'll open it. Sell them in packs of 4 too. But the pack of one, when you open the big eye needle, you can see here, if I can get it out of the packaging. Let's see, I might have to rip the packaging. There we go. When you take the big eye needle out of the packaging, you can see that it is almost double looking. It's a little bit hard to see here in the video, but I will spread it apart. That once you get your fingers, and I find that using my fingernails is the easiest way for this, to open this. The wide eye needle goes, or the big eye needle, has that whole opening. The thing about the wide eye needle is, eventually, because the whole thing is open, it's basically just kind of soldered at the ends. Sometimes it gives way and actually splits. You can still use it by using it like a regular needle, but it does have a split at the end. That's my one holdup with them. The other holdup for me, and this is just because of the way that I bead, on both ends they actually have a point. However, it's much better to get poked a little bit if you're really having trouble threading that needle than not at all. You're just going to take your needle, put it into the end of that beading thread there, and then when you let go, the needle collapses and the thread stays right in the middle there. You can then bead away, and the nice thing is actually as your thread gets smaller, you can actually move the thread along the beading needle. For most threads, you won't need to do anything prior to this to make it easier to put through the beading needle. That's a wide eye needle. Or a big eye needle, and it's pretty flexible. It's not my favorite, but like I said, if you are getting to the point that you're super frustrated with it, go for the wide eye needle. You can also comment below, which helps a lot of other community members, to say what you like to do when it comes to needle selection, threading the needle, and the tips that you have learned along the way. Because I know there's many of you that have been beading far longer than me, and I'm sure have those little extra tips that they have. So that's the big eye needle. There's then the flexible twisted needle. This is super flexible. It's like a beading cable that's twisted around. It has that little rounded eye. You can put your thread in the end and then squash that down. But you really are only going to get, unless you really are great with squashing that down, you're really only going to get 1 or 2 uses out of this. Also, if you're using something heavier, it's really flexible. These are better if you're working with silk cording or working with some waxed linen cording. I use it more with cording than actual beading thread. But with the thread, you can use this, and then, like I said, take a pliers and kind of pinch the end. So those are the twisted, flexible beading wires. Now we get into the actual English style needles that we all know and love, and I'm going to demonstrate, and we'll see how good I am on camera actually doing some of the threading of these. So I have sitting here just to talk about and discuss first the beeswax. Beeswax, it says it strengthens and conditions thread, reduce tangling and knotting, and it's easy to use. That is true, but it's also going to put a coating on the exterior of the thread. If you are using a thread and trying to thread the needle, sometimes it's a good idea to actually not put the actual wax on before threading the needle, because it creates a little bit of junk next to or on the thread, which again is going to make it reducing tangles and knotting, and it conditions the thread, but it's going to make it a little bit harder to get it inside that eye of a needle. So if you are using beeswax or a cord thread conditioner, you may want to use that after you thread the needle because it can kind of junk up the needle. I have that sitting here just to show in case you are using a fiber thread or a actual bonded thread or thermally bonded thread. Depending on what you're using, you may be using some of this. Wait to use it until after you thread your needle. It's going to be much easier then, so you don't have that gunk buildup around the eye of the needle. For certain threads, and actually Anna has a nice blog about that too if you want to check that out. And so I have 0.006 wildfire beading thread here in the black color so that you can see it. The trick to this, I think, is just making sure that the thread is the appropriate size thread for your needle, as well as making sure that the end of the thread is flattened out when you're using it. I have color eye needles here, which are a little bit helpful because you can actually see the eye a little bit better when you're working with it. The design of the color eye is so that you know what the different numbers are and what the needles are and keeping track of them in your pack. But I actually think it's a little bit helpful. You can see the actual eye of the needle a little bit better with the color eyes. I also have sitting here a tulip needle. The tulip needles have a little bit of gold at the top, and that helps you to identify and distinguish that they are tulips. Also, tulip needles tend to have a little bit bigger eye than a regular standard English beading needle, which is going to be your pony brand or your color eye brand when you're looking at it. So the eye tends to be a little bit bigger, even though the needle is the same size. Basically, the exterior around the eye here is a little bit thinner metal, which allows for a little bit opening hole bigger. So a lot of times when I'm threading the needle, and I kind of move these out here, when I'm threading my needle, I will take a thread burner and cut the thread off the actual spool. What that's going to do is make a little bump at the end of the thread, which is going to make it really hard to thread your needle if you don't do anything. If you have a nice little scissors that you can work with, like these Fisker scissors, you can go in and cut and make a nice cut, but sometimes it's still hard to thread the needle. Do we want to wax it? No, because that's just going to make the thread thicker. You can see, and there's different ones. We actually just had a customer that sent us some medical grade needle threaders. The problem with the needle threaders, even the tiny, tiny ones, is that the thread is going to be doubled when you use a needle threader and pull it through the needle. I prefer, if you are using this technique, basically you're going to cut with your wildfire or your thread cutter, and if I cut my thread with that and kind of heat it up and cut the thread through, you're going to see that even with this light here, you can usually see that it's a little bit thicker at the end now because it fused and it melted a little bit of the cording. What you're going to want to do is take a pliers and you're going to flatten out the end of the thread. When I was just recently with Teresa, she said she actually even dragged that thread through the pliers rather than just kind of flattening it out. I don't like to have the stripping of the thread, even though this end is going to be burned off, but you can drag it through. But that's what's going to occur when you do that, is a lot of times, especially in the black color, it's going to strip it. So what I prefer to do, and that's going to fray the end. That's why I actually like the cord cutter, is because flattening it out, you're not going to fray the end as easily. If you just take your thread end here, take your needle nose pliers, and flatten it out. When you flatten out the end of the thread, you can actually see there that the thread is actually flattened out. It's going to have a little bit of a fan look to it, which is going to make it easier then. I pinch it between my fingers, and I tend to move the needle rather than the thread. The thread is so flimsy and thin that I find it easier to move the needle than the thread. The needle is going to have two sides. It has a little bit bigger opening on one side. It is kind of flatter on one side and more rounded on the other. If you can put it into that flatter side, that's great, but it is a little bit difficult to see those sides of the needle. When I work with it then, I kind of wiggle the needle back and forth, trying to get the thread into that needle. And of course, because I'm doing this on the spot here and showing it, it's going to be a little bit more difficult on me. And really, when I get in, so I'm going to almost disappear from here, I get in really, really close to that. I look at it, pinching it between my fingers, and then wiggling back and forth. I can usually get my thread and needle in there pretty quickly and pretty easily. Generally speaking, if you are struggling with a needle and getting the thread into the needle, take the thread end here, reburn it, and try again. The other thing you do want to be aware of, sometimes you get needles that just have bad eyes. So hopefully that's not my luck right now, that the eye of the needle is actually not going to allow you to put the thread through. I've seen them blocked. And sometimes as you're working with them too, they get blocked, and which makes it a little bit more difficult to get the thread through. Once you get the thread through a little bit, you can grab your pliers if you want. Pull just a tiny little bit on there. Usually I just grab with my fingernails, pull my thread through. And then once you have it through a little bit, you want to look for your biggest portion of your eye. And of course, these pliers that I grabbed aren't actually flush here. But when you grab that biggest portion, you want to make sure that you're pulling the thread through. And I hold right below the needle as I pull through to get my thread on the needle. That way I'm not affecting the actual top of the eye, and I'm not going to pull and really fray any of the thread. The .006 wildfire beading thread, which I use a lot, is going to fit nicely in a size 10 and even will fit in a size 12 needle. With the size 12 needle, generally speaking, you are going to want to make sure to use a pliers and kind of flatten out the end of the thread. When you're using a 4-pound, 6-pound wildfire or fire line thread, you're going to be fine with that too as well. As you get into 8 and 10 pound, you're going to want to avoid using a size 12 or certainly a size 13 needle and stick to a 10 or 11, because as the needle gets smaller, the eye gets smaller as well, because it's going to be equal to the actual needle size in itself. Because when you're looking at the needles, and the needle eye has a good picture of this, you can see that differing from sewing needles, the eye of the actual needle when you're working with beading needles is going to be no bigger than the actual needle itself. So again, my best tip and technique is, if you are conditioning the thread, wait to condition it till you already have your needle threaded. If you do have to add thread to a project, pre-thread that needle on the new piece of thread, so that way once you're done with the daunting task of adding some new thread to your needle, you can actually already just keep going and keep beading. Again, comment below in the box, because people learn all kinds of different tips and techniques and tricks for that. I've seen people actually take the end of the thread and roll it kind of in some super glue to make it a little bit stiffer, still then going in and flattening out the end of the thread. So there's all kinds of different tips and techniques that people use in order to thread the needle. But the number one thing that I like to do is squash down the end of that thread, make it fan out a little bit, and that'll make it much easier to thread that needle. Again, if you're struggling a ton, don't try to struggle a lot and make it difficult with that English style of needle. Go for that big eye needle, enjoy the craft, enjoy making, and don't struggle and get super frustrated and put it down because you can't thread your needle. Even still, when I teach, I tend to go ahead before the students even get there and thread the needle. Sometimes when I'm working, you have those days where for some reason it's just not clicking and it's not working. Pick up and grab a big eye needle, and that way you can go on your way quickly and get it finished nicely without struggling so much. Hopefully you found this helpful, and like I said, please comment below, give your tips, your techniques, and have this be kind of an open forum on the easiest way to actually thread your needle. Thanks so much for watching this Better Beader episode on actually threading the needle. Remember, if you want to comment below, that helps other people that may be watching this video when they see your tips and your tricks as well. You can also subscribe to this YouTube channel, give a little thumbs up and like the video, and we'll give you regular updates then when we get new videos to make you a better beader, as well as different tips and techniques and new designs. As always, you can join our community in Facebook for beading and jewelry making, to share your advice, to share your opinions, get inspiration, and see the amazing things that people do with beadwork. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Better Beader, and enjoy and have fun threading your needles.